following Chalk Talk is brought to you by Isolite, the emergency lighting experts. Stay educated, my friends.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us for October Chalk Talk. As you can see today, our product that we're going to be discussing is our E3 mini inverter. I'm Greg Keel, Western Regional Sales Manager, and our host today is our Director of Product Development, Evan Ackman. Evan, take it away.
Great. Thanks, Greg, and good morning, everybody. As Greg mentioned, we're going to talk about the new E3 Mini. It's a new product that's being released soon, and it's pretty exciting. We'll talk a little bit about the overview of it, the look and the feel, some of the new features. We'll get into some of the details about the performance improvements that we've added to the product, some of the increased flexibility that we've added, as well as maybe the biggest headline feature, which is the dimming integration. We'll then end on some information about the availability of the new product, as well as what's going to happen to the IMI, which this product ostensibly replaces, although it's not quite that simple. We'll talk about the ordering guide and some of the options that are available to the product, and then the support tools, what we're going to send out, what'll be on the web here in the next couple days. So getting right into it, this is a picture of the E3 Mini. You'll notice that the 125 VA version looks remarkably similar with the faceplate on to the IMI 125, but you will notice that the new 250 VA version looks different. Today in the IMI line, we actually make the 250 watt product deeper, but it has the same height and width. We've actually changed that in this instance, so we've stacked the batteries vertically rather than going through the depth. That means that this product still fits in a stud cavity even when you're using the 250 VA product. There's actually some additional differences in that user interface once you get the display off, but we'll show that to you here in a couple seconds. And indeed, you saw it in the video as well. In terms of some of the new features, there's more than we can cover on a 15-minute webinar, but a couple things that I wanted to highlight, the first of which is a tremendous quality of life improvement, and that's the field configurable voltage that the new E3 Mini has. Today, if you order an IMI or if you order it from anyone in the industry, really, you have to specify at order time what the voltage is for the product. You have to say this is going into a 120 volt system or a 277 volt system. This product, through the cute little jumper that you see on the bottom left there, is actually configurable at runtime or at install time, really. So there's only one product you have to order. You pick the wattage or the VA capacity of the product. You don't actually have to select the voltage at order time. So it's the same product no matter whether you need 120 or 277. It simplifies the ordering of the product, the specification of the product, and it should actually help us improve the lead time of the product, which is already pretty good, but we can get even better because now we can build to stock instead of building to order, which is pretty exciting. Another new feature which we're excited about is the multi-purpose outputs. If you recall on the IMI today, we've built that as an all-in-one, everything you need is in the box kind of product. It has a normally on output, a normally off output, and a switched output. And that's all well and good if you only need one output, but what happens when you need more? We've addressed this with the E3 Mini, and what we have now is a single dedicated normally on output, but then we have 3 configurable outputs. So if you want to integrate 3 independent zones of switched or dimmed lighting controls, you can actually do that with this product. So you can have one normally off zone and 2 switched zones as well as your normally on zone, or 3 switched and 1 normally on, or really any combination of those different output types you can do. Again, this is not at order time, this is at install time. You can configure how this is done. This allows you to get more zones of emergency lighting and lighting control integration without having to deploy the emergency lighting control devices, those transfer devices that you'd need in traditional systems. So it's a pretty exciting way to do that, and it gives a lot of flexibility. The other thing that's important that we've heard you guys ask for is integration with dimming technologies. So via an option, we can actually integrate 0 to 10 volt and dolly dimming systems and lighting controls. And what this does is a couple different things. One, it allows you to dim down the lights in the emergency mode so that you can get potentially more even light levels along the path of egress, but it actually does even a little bit more than that. The design of this product is such that in normal operation, you can actually load it to a capacity higher than what it can run in emergency mode. So 125 VA product can run at 375 VA in normal mode, and then via the dimming can actually dim down to be within the 125 VA that's listed capacity, and that will just work. So you can actually have bigger, broader zones of lighting that's backed up by the E3 Mini, and then it integrates that 0 to 10 volt dimming and the dolly based dimming. So there's a lot of questions about how that works. We have a really nice wiring diagram that draws it in a very simple way. We're going to send that as a follow-up to this webinar. But in general, because of the configurable outputs and the number of dimmed outputs that you get with the dimming option, you can have 3 independent zones of lighting control, all being backed up by the E3 Mini without having to use any emergency lighting control devices. It's just really one device to rule them all that sits there. And we actually have a good set of wiring diagrams that integrates, that shows how you would integrate things like phase control dimming, 2-wire phase control dimming, as well as mixed zones of 0 to 10 volt, with one output being phase control and one only switched. All of that will be coming as a follow-up to this webinar. So it really increases the flexibility that you have with this product. We've really strived to make this the right product really for every application up to that 250 VA mark. The other thing that's important about the design of the E3 Mini, and for those of you who have been on webinars with me in the past, when we talk about quality of a product, we always fall back to this number, and that's the Crest Factor number. And I'll say the same thing that I always say: the precise mathematical definition of Crest Factor is not super critical. The way to think about it is the device's ability to deliver peak currents as compared to its ability to deliver average currents. And I've tried to capture that graphically down below. You can see if that's current, in that one half cycle at the bottom, it has this big slug of current that the fixtures have pulled for some reason. That relationship between that peak and that average is the Crest Factor. And ours are the highest in the industry, 10x and 5x. The 10x number is actually higher even than our E3 Mac products. So this is a very high quality device. What this means to you, you might say, who cares about peak currents and whatnot? And that's a fine response to that question. But this is really an indicator of quality. And it just says that the lights are always going to come on and you're never going to have a problem. When there's an emergency, the E3 Mini is always going to come on and be that reliable emergency backup installation that you need. And the flexibility really can't be understated. And this goes really all the way through the product. We've talked about a couple of things from the design side, but some of the options even support this goal of making it easier for you guys at design and specification time. Obviously, that 120 and 277 selectable at install time removes that design time risk. It removes the risk of fixtures changing, or all of a sudden you need a fixture backed up that was not originally a part of the system, and that circuit is 120. You can now do that with this product. You don't have to go back and change the actual model number from us. The mixed load types on the configurable outputs means that you get many more zones of control integrated without having to add additional hardware. And another thing that we've done and made a first-class citizen in this product is added time delay options for smart power pack integration. One of the things that's interesting, or an innovation in the industry on the control side, is the smart power packs that integrate native UL 924 functionality. The way these work is they're fed by backup power all the time. They'll observe a power outage, and then when they come back online, they assume that they're in emergency mode and they ignore control inputs for the 90 minutes that's required by code. The problem generally with inverters is that the transfer from normal power over to emergency power is so fast that those smart power packs can't observe the power outage, and so they don't know to override their control inputs. With this device, there's an option code that allows you to extend that period between normal power going away and emergency power being asserted, that will allow those smart power packs to see that there's been a transfer occurring and go into that mode. So there's no custom ordering or anything. You order it with an option and it will do that. It'll defer that transfer for 1 second, which is enough time for those smart power packs to do their appropriate thing. In terms of availability, this product is going to be available in January of 2021. If you want to quote it now because there's an opportunity that could utilize potentially the multiple zones of output, the increased Crest Factor, or if you don't know if it's going to be a 120 or 277 volt system, but you want to get something down on paper, please reach out to us for a quote. As a follow-up to this webinar, we're going to send the price book page so that you guys will just know it, but just be advised, it's not shipping immediately, it's shipping at the beginning of next year. That also begs the question, what happens to the IMI? This looks like a direct replacement for it, and it is, but the IMI is going to stick around for a while. There's a couple reasons for that. Obviously we have existing orders that we have to service. There's existing customers who use this as a standard, but it will eventually go away. And 12 months is admittedly a guess. It's probably 12 to 18 months. It will probably go away. As always, we'll keep units around and parts around so that we can service warranty repairs or any replacements that are required. I want to just briefly touch on the ordering guide. This is not an exhaustive list of the options, but there's a couple things to just highlight here that I want to draw your attention to. The first is obviously the absence of a 120 and 277 selection because the unit is universal. You can see in the mounting back and recessed mount, that's carried over from the IMI. What you'll see is missing though is the ceiling grid mount. If you need to mount this up on a T-bar and have it hang down into the space, the IMI is still the correct solution for that, and it will be at least for a little bit of time. We have intents to change that, but as of right now on the foreseeable roadmap, the IMI is still the way to get a ceiling grid input. In terms of options, it's the stuff you'd expect. 0 to 10 and dolly dimming integration and fire alarm interface, that comes as one. It's an additional board that we throw in there that does all of that work. So you would specify those things together. There's obviously an audible alarm for when the device is not visible. It will make a screeching sound when there's something that people need to pay attention to. The delay transfer is what we spoke about 2 slides ago in terms of deferring that transfer from normal to emergency power for 1 full second so that the smart power pack integration would just work. And then as we have with the IMI, the remote diagnostic panel has been carried over. So if you want to mount the device relatively far away, but you want to have access to the LEDs and the alerts from a remote location, the remote diagnostic panel is the way to do that. As a follow-up to this, there's going to be stuff that's coming up on the web soon. We don't have the web page posted yet, but the spec sheet, drawings, and wiring diagrams will go up next week. As a follow-up to this, as always, you're going to get a video of me doing the presentation. You'll get a PDF copy of this or a link to this presentation that you guys can use for talking to your customers. And we'll also send the price list page so that you have the pricing and the full list of options. This is a blitzkrieg kind of introduction to a fairly sophisticated product that we're very excited about. So if you do have more questions, you want to go into a deeper dive, you're actually going to be seeing some additional things come out from us really over the course of the next 60 days leading up to the launch in terms of sell sheets, white papers, wiring diagrams. So there's going to be a lot of information forthcoming about the product. But if you do want to get a detailed overview, if you want to go into details on this or really anything that we do, my name is Evan Ackman. Greg and Matt are both on the line. Our emails are right up there. We're certainly happy to schedule a webinar for you and do whatever you need for us. We certainly appreciate all the work that you guys do on our behalf, and we appreciate your time this morning. Have a happy Halloween and a good weekend. I don't know what the situation is where you guys are, but Halloween is going to be a little bit goofy this year, but enjoy it anyway. Go ahead and feel free to steal your kids' candy. It's that kind of year. Thank you all.